Hey everyone, thank you for joining us again for episode 17. Merry Christmas for those. Thanksgiving is over. We're kind of heading into the Christmas holiday. And as many of you can see, this is not my dad. This is not Pastor Larry. This is somebody who is just as important and somebody who I love very much. It is my own mother, April Miller. And we kind of want to go over today. I thought this would just be something really good for her to explain is dating and marriage, and especially in the year 2025. Now, you've been out of the game for a long time because you've been married for a very long time, but there's a lot of knowledge that you have. And the first thing that I want to ask you is how long, first of all, so our viewers know, how long have you and my dad been married for?
We have been married 45 years.
Okay, so they've been married for 45 years.
Yes.
There's
so
a lot
I graduated from high school on June 1st.
Mhm.
I got married June 21st.
Right.
So 20 days out of high school.
Now, why do you think, we'll just hit that up. Why aren't people doing that now? Because in my world, I would just go, that's
insane.
I mean,
well,
that's
now
insane.
I look back at it.
And you go, that is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back then, I don't know exactly why, but people did get married.
That was very normal.
Very
There's
normal
so many
to
people
be married between 18 and 21.
Mhm.
And I think it's partially because a lot of people didn't go to college.
Mhm.
That wasn't
wasn't a push hardly at all.
It wasn't
You
pushed
go get
like
a job,
it's pushed now. Right.
Yeah.
And so part of that's that reason. And I don't know. I think people wanted to be married and were excited to be married and start families more back then
compared to what it is now. I think a lot of people are more
now.
maybe scared or
They're
whatever.
more scared.
Yeah.
But I did look up statistics, and in 1980, which is when I got married, the divorce rate was 5 people out of 1,000
would get divorced. And what is it now?
Now
because
14
I know it's
out of 1,000, and that's 3 times more, though.
3 times more.
3 times more divorce than when we got married, even though we got married super young. Now people wait until they want everything to be perfect.
Yeah.
I got to find the exact guy, the exact girl. I got to have a house. I've got to have all these things that we never had. And yet our marriages lasted longer than marriages today.
Yeah. Which is really interesting, because just coming from my dating experience and dates I've gone on and friends, that will text me or whatever, it does seem like everybody's going, well, their house, either maybe they didn't have a house, they had an apartment. So, I'm just, that's just out of the question now.
Right.
You're going, whoa, but what if they were a really good person,
Yeah.
So a lot of people are they really are set in their ways. They know what they want.
Yeah.
Whereas you guys were going, I'm content with it. It's okay.
Yep.
We can build off of this because I'm in love or whatever.
The expectations of girls and guys now is so much different because you guys in your 20s, 30s, mainly 30s, I would say, you want what you want then, in your 30s, what we got when we were probably in our 40s and 50s. So, you want the house,
bigger
and the cars,
house
and the jobs, and,
yeah.
All that. And we that would have never even been in thought when I was 30 to own my own, $350,000 house. That just there was no way.
Yeah.
So you want more, and I think women are more independent now, because they do work. I made a decision that even if we didn't have as many things, that I was going to stay home.
Because you were always there. Yeah.
Yes, because I wanted to stay home with my kids.
Yeah.
Because if they called and they were sick, I wanted to be able to go get you. I wanted to be, the Bible says as a term of keeper of the home. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to take care of my kids, be a good wife, have dinner, keep the house clean. It's kind of old fashioned sounding, but I think that's God's, it's not that if it's not, that it's not perfect, but I think that's a good plan that God kind of instituted, because then the wife's not, all stressed out and in a bad mood because she's got to work and he's got to work. Well, you do this because I work too. We never had any of that.
You didn't have to worry about
that. Didn't have to worry about that stress.
Then when the husband comes home, he knows, okay, the place is taken care of, or food's getting made and the kids have whatever because I just got off work and I don't know what's going on.
It just is a lot of peace that way. But people now, they want so many more material things than we did. I was happy with just staying home, but people now, they want more.
So one of the questions that I had down here was, why are people, they're not dating as much and they're not getting married as much in this generation, which kind of leads into what you're just saying right now, is because there's people that I know would say, I mean, most girls that I would know, they say they don't want to work either, right? They just want to stay home and they go, I want a man to provide.
Right.
But the definition of providing in your generation and
Right.
my generation is so
Completely
different.
different.
They want a big house.
Right.
They want, if I'm staying home, it's going to be nice.
Right.
And you
Right.
go, dang, not everybody can,
Right.
maybe do that. So then because of that, then that's not the guy for me.
Right.
Because he won't provide for me.
Right.
But it's the definition of providing that's so different. So when you guys were dating and you got married, kind of run down, of what Dad did for a living. Because there's people that I know, and I would never call out names or say anything, but there are people that I know, and we talk about dating, and they'll say, unless this person is making close to 100,000, I'm not dating them.
Yeah.
And this is coming from Christian people.
Right.
It's just out of the question.
Right.
I'm not going to do that. Or he needs to be so goal oriented with his job. At least has to be 80 to 100, but hopefully more, because that means that he cares about his job and he's got his priorities right.
Right.
So for you, when you were dating Dad and you guys ended up getting married, what was he doing? So we have jokes about, because I give Dad a run for his money, but yeah.
He was, I think he was probably working at one of his many gas station jobs.
Yeah. So that was a gas station.
Yeah. And I had a part-time job.
Let's pause really quick. What made you fall in love with Dad? If you saw him at a gas station, you knew he was working at a gas station, you go, I love that man. Because I'm telling you right now, if we take it into the year 2025 and a man's working at a gas station,
that's not going to be good.
A girl's just not going to
not interested. Yeah.
So what made you go?
Because to me, having a good, rumors around town is Larry Miller's a great guy. So having a good guy that loves God, that is still going to provide, for us.
I mean, he's working.
And he's going to be faithful. He was never lazy or anything like that. That was more important to me than having a big house, because, as you can say all day long, oh, that's so silly to say, but things don't make you happy. I know a lot of rich people and they're not happy, and then I know a lot of people like how we were happy, and because we just loved each other and we were content. And the thing is too, is that now people don't have to trust God. So we had to trust God for food sometimes, for your tuition when you went to a Christian school. We had to trust God. So we've kind of got that down, so that if anything happens crazy, we've got the trust thing where we know where to go right away. Yeah. And now nobody has to trust God, because you can take care of yourself. I make 80 and you make 80 and we're good. And, we had to trust God, and I wouldn't give that up for anything.
Yeah. And you need a man that's going to be able to trust God with that. And I'm not knocking women in any ways, because I reached out to girls and I texted them and I said, what is something, they were single, and I said, what's something, or give me a good reason of why you're not dating. They're in their 20s, they're in their 30s. What is stopping you? Because I know you guys are complaining and you say, oh, this and that, whatever.
Right.
And one of the biggest complaints was I don't trust the guy, and I think that he would either cheat on me or he just wants in my pants, is really what that was.
Right.
Now, back when you guys, we go back to that, not to say that guys still weren't like that, they're dogs, whatever.
Yeah.
The difference, it's very different.
It's very different.
It's very different.
It is.
And the expectations are maybe of what a man is wanting, and he's going, well, I think you should give me that or whatever. And it's like, I get it on the girl side of things, because you're going, I don't want to date a guy, here's a guy that says, he goes to church and this and that, and then all he wants to do is just, do whatever with you sexually.
Right. Yeah.
So when you were growing up, you told me the other day about like French kissing back then, which this would have been the 80s,
this would have been when we dated. It would have been the late 70s.
The late 70s, and French
married
kissing
8th grade,
was a huge deal.
Yes.
Like that was
for us, that was like, date a while before you would ever.
You would even shove a tongue down someone's throat.
Like we said, that was like first base, basically. You just wouldn't have done that, back then. And now I know that's just a kiss. That's not even.
For most people, you go, oh, that's just not, that's normal, and that's what they expect. And there was something that you sent me, and I said it to you on the phone the other day, is when people start, what was it, like when a generation decides what do you remember what
I
it
forget what that
was?
was.
Like something that was, I can't remember. Along like they tolerate it, but now the next generation will just assume that it's fine, or
Right,
they don't think
right,
that it is wrong.
right. Yeah, it just
And
gets worse and
it just gets
worse,
worse and worse,
really.
just like it's
I
just say every
mean,
10 years or
yeah,
whatever. It's
yeah,
just like,
yeah. Yep, you
getting
just go
worse.
further and further, and everything is acceptable,
Yeah, everything is starting to
So,
become
yeah,
acceptable.
and with Dad's profession, he's been in weight training and training people as well, amongst his like 27 jobs he's had since
He's
we've
had
been married.
27 jobs, but he's been a personal trainer. He was a personal
Personal
trainer
trainer a long
for a
time.
very long time.
So, the good thing about having someone that loves God, okay, so
Mhm.
let's define someone that loves God.
Yeah.
Okay. A
Yeah.
lot of people love God, but I mean, your dad put God first,
Mhm.
no matter what. He
Mhm.
wanted to live what the Bible said. Okay. So if you can find a guy that's really into that, and God is more important than you, then that's the good thing. He needs
Or
to
his
be more
job.
important than his job. He needs to
His
be more,
money and,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah. God needs to be more important than anything. He's number one.
Because I think a lot of people say, I want them to be Christian,
Right.
and I want them to put God first. And then if they actually do, I don't know if you'd be interested in them. I really don't
If
know.
somebody was really on
Because you say, hey,
fire
I'm just letting
for
you know
God,
God's first and not you.
but the guy that's on
you
fire
go,
for God is the one that's not going to cheat on you. More than likely. Not always, but more than likely. So, when he's training these girls that are littler than me, prettier than me, buffer than me, all that.
Whatever.
Did I ever worry? Not once.
Yeah,
because
you weren't
never
even thinking about it.
No, and I know
going,
I wasn't them. I wasn't, as good as them or as pretty as them, but I didn't have to worry about it because I knew Dad would never do that because he put God first.
Mhm.
And the Bible says
Mhm.
not to do that.
Mhm.
So it's like if you can find a guy that truly loves God, he doesn't talk about it, he lives it.
Yeah, two different things.
Then
Very two different
yeah,
things.
I mean, and then but yet we had a small house. But I married a man that loved God, and so that's
And
why
you were content
45
with that,
years later,
yeah,
we're still
yeah.
yeah.
Which I was saying, so the girl's perspective, the number one thing was him cheating, him wanting in my pant. They don't want to commit, is what was. They're all messy, and it's like, man, that is so unfortunate, and that sucks. And then on the other side of things, when I ask guys, and obviously I know certain, dating and stuff like that because I'm not with anyone or married. And the biggest thing a lot of them said was, there's a lot of girls, even people at church or whatever, people that go to church, people that are Christians, they'll say, if he's not 6 foot, I'm not dating him. He has to be at least 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
Which is like kind of funny, but it's actually like, wow, it's actually really sad.
True. Yeah.
Where you go, I would just really prefer.
Yeah.
So you could have a guy that's 5'10". I'm not even 5'10". Somebody could be 5'10" or 5'9" or something like that. And
Just
you go,
not good enough.
He's a great guy. And you go, I just really like if he was taller.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay.
See, and that's a huge difference in us.
Because you guys never, Dad's like,
Dad is 5'5". So his dad,
5'5".
Mac's dad is 5'5".
It's a short
and
dude.
Yeah, and I'm 5'2", so I'm still smaller.
Still works out.
Still shorter.
Yeah.
But that was not ever, that's not even, that. Those are so shallow. How much do you make? Where do you live?
Yeah,
How tall are you? Do you have hair, not hair? All those things are so shallow, and those don't stand the test of time.
Yeah.
Because now 45 years later, I have gray hair, I've, gained weight, I have sags and different wrinkles.
You cannot
it's
be
inevitable.
Father Time. Yeah.
So it's like that has, what you're wanting and what you're seeking it does not last.
Yeah.
It doesn't last. So you have to have a love for that person beyond what you have materialistic. You have to.
Yeah. So with the girls being like, guys are doing, this and that, and they're not committing and they don't care and they don't even try at this point. They don't take me out on dates. And then you have guys on the other end where you go, well, she asked me, hey, how much am I into my job and how much money I make, because they have it. I do think in this generation where you go, well, then he's not a provider.
Right.
He doesn't love me then.
Yeah.
And you're like, holy smokes, and it's
Yeah.
just like, to me, that's just like.
See, for me, I'd rather live in a one-bedroom apartment.
I said, so y'all can live in a
my
one bedroom.
Husband, that I love so much, and he loves me so much. We love God and all that. I'd have that any day over a big house in misery.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? And being not happy, and the guy not, loving me, and I can't trust him. To me, that's like just crazy that girls and guys would choose that.
Yeah. And
because it's not going to last.
There's people that I know where guys are like, they'll work like 60 hours a week.
Yeah.
And they've been married for a long time, like, 15 years or something like that. But their relationship just seems so like he's kind of there, kind of not. And the girl is just accepting of it because she's going, well, at least I have a big house.
Right,
And,
right.
at least he's providing the things that I want,
Right.
clothes and makeup and the car or whatever. But he's like around, but he's kind of not around. So it's just like this weird, you go over to their house and it's like compared to you and dad, and I'm just like, man, are you guys really, you sure you love each other? Like, it just seems kind of weird, because I'm just used to you guys where it's just, you don't need, didn't matter the cars, it didn't matter the house, it didn't matter the money, it didn't matter the whatever.
Right.
And you guys put God first every single time, regardless. And I saw that growing up, and now here you guys are. Which, how many years did you say?
45.
45 years later, and it's like you guys are still going strong. You still love God.
Yeah.
And I take
still
a step back
and
go,
still
my
love
gosh,
God.
I want that so bad. So really. And did you want to say something?
I was just going to say, so what do we do to keep it that way?
So what do you do to keep it that way? Which was in kind of a closing.
Yeah.
Was, with that, being married as long as you have, and I'm sure the frustrations, the fights, or whatever.
Yep.
What are some things that you can tell people who are either looking to date, people who are married, maybe people who are struggling in their marriage? I don't know, where you go, this works.
Yeah.
Like, this is something that we have found out, whether it's, like I said to you, not that I know, but, you wake up in the morning before your wife and you go, I know she likes coffee. I'm either going to go get it or I'm going to go make it real quick. So I know when she does get up, this is already taken care of. Whatever the case may be, what are some things that you can say, this is what you and dad do in particular?
Well, we spoke at church one time a few years ago, and it was called, It's the Little Things. So for me and dad, I would say, me and your dad, it's even though you've been married forever, that you still do small things for each other. Like if I, just for an example, your dad knows exactly what I like at Starbucks.
Which is wild, because she likes like the food drink.
Chai tea latte, skinny, no water, extra pump of chai, one packet
Lord
of
have
Splenda.
mercy.
Yeah, so he knows that, so that's a little thing. What if he brought that home to me, and just said, hey, I brought that
I got this for you.
I know he loves licorice, so I'm at the store, I'll buy him. It's just those small things, though, that kind of keep the spark.
Yeah.
It makes the spark stay. Reminiscing is another thing, like Dr. James Dobson, who's, was in our day, and he was a family psychiatrist and stuff. But he says, reminisce with each other. Go back and say, what? Oh, there's our song. That's when we were, young, and stuff like that. And then obviously keeping God, in the center of your relationship, going to church together, and all that kind of stuff. And just even like now, your dad said today, I've been praying for you. I prayed for you on the way to work this morning. And I'm like, what did you pray? And just, that you would, not be sick, and that you'd be healthy, and just certain things in my life that are going on. So I prayed for you. I'm like, oh, that just makes you feel so good, but sometimes just the little things that you do for each other that keeps that spark.
Yeah.
Because when you've been married a long time, it's not like you're, jumping on each other anymore.
Each other's bones no
you
more.
don't do all that.
Billion years.
It's more just, it's a deeper love than the surface.
I know I read somewhere, maybe it was Dr. Dobson, I don't know. If when people are married and they don't have time and they have kids and they're running all over the place, was it like once a month you should set aside, or is it once a month, or once
a month, a date
night where you go, okay, you need to
kids are
focus on that, because people don't do that, and say, hey, the kids are going to, just even if it's for an hour or two, and we're going to go out to eat, or we're going to go see a movie, or whatever the case may be. And
you have to prioritize your marriage. Make it a priority.
Make it a priority.
Make it a priority.
Which is hard,
so it's important to you. It is. But we always tried to do that too when we were raising our kids. And if you don't have money, we didn't have money.
You're like, well,
so
we
how
can't
do you
go
pay a babysitter and you go to dinner? You can't do that. So we had good friends. And we would swap kids. I'll watch your kids.
I'll watch your kids
so
one
you
month,
guys
and
can
then
go out the next month. You watch ours. Yeah. So we did that. I mean, that's just another thing. Like, well, I really can't afford both. That's okay. Be creative and come up with something else, but have fun, have fun with each other. We do little silly things still. When I wake up, I'll say something funny,
something stupid, whatever, laugh. Little nicknames.
Little
whatever.
nicknames, and you just have fun still, like just to keep things going.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess just knowing that, we're both Christians and that's what we're supposed to do, supposed to stay married if at all possible. I know there's situations sometimes where you can't. But if you're not looking at the right things, you're not going to find the right guy or the right girl. Money's
Yeah, that's
not going to
good.
make you happy. I'm just telling you. I've had both. I've learned how to abound, and I've learned to be abased.
You're right. You're
So it's
right.
like you learn. I've been broke and I've been richer, and I'm not any
It's
happier.
not. It doesn't. Eventually,
Not
it
any.
doesn't change.
Doesn't matter.
Whatever, and you
None
go,
of
"Why
that
am I so
matters.
upset?
The
Why
house
am I? Why
doesn't
isn't this
matter.
still working?"
It's the guy or the girl that matters.
Yeah.
That relationship
Yeah.
is so much more important. I mean, if there's anything I can say from being older and being married a long time, that's so much more important than things. It just is.
And
So,
then, lastly, maybe for people who aren't married or dating, and one thing I would say, because I'm not dating or married, for me would be, I know a lot of people might want to get in a relationship. I just want to be in a relationship so bad. So then what happens is you jump into one that you really didn't even know in the first, just so you could be in a relationship. And it's like something I've learned is just going, it's better to be in your singleness
yes.
than date or marry
Yes.
the wrong person just because you're lonely, or just because you don't do something on Saturdays
Yes.
and Sunday night or whatever. You go, I just want my person. It's like, then wait,
Right.
just
Well,
wait.
like what we say it's better to be single and lonely than married and miserable.
Which is like words
So don't
to live
jump.
by.
Yeah, don't. I got to get married.
I just got to get married, and this
anybody.
person's good enough, and we get along enough. And
Yeah.
you're going, man, are you
then 4
sure?
or 5 years later, you're miserable.
And then you're miserable, and you go, I wish I wouldn't have done this. And there's people that I know who've gotten divorced, and I'm like, man, I should, I wish I would have said more to them, because I'm like, are you sure? It was just because, well, I was just lonely. I was lonely.
Yep.
And it's like, I get it,
My clock's ticking.
Clock's ticking. You're getting older, and it's just like, but if it's not the right person,
yep. God knows the desire of your heart.
God knows the desire of your heart. And also, even if he doesn't answer the prayer or whatever, the thing that you're looking for, it doesn't mean that he's not a good father.
Right.
And it's giving you an option to grow in your faith and go, is he still good? Is he still good? If you never got married, if you never got in a relationship,
even if,
is he still good?
Yeah.
Do you still trust me?
Right.
And the answer is yes. And that's what you have to do, which can be hard, but so is there anything in closing you want to give advice or anything?
I mean, I think that's it. I think that's it. I just, enjoy the journey, when you get married, marry the right person and enjoy it, and know it's for life. It's not, well, I can get out of this, if I want to.
And we kind of talked about too, because we were saying things that I saw from you and Dad too is when, you're like, oh, well, Dad put God first. Like, actually, there's a difference between, which we didn't really cover too much. But one thing I thought too is I'm like, no, man, like a guy that really puts God first, that means you're going to be second.
Yes.
Are you okay with that? Yes. Like, and he's like, well, and it's like, no. Like, he's not going to put his job first.
Right.
He's not going to put you first. He's not going to put the family,
kids,
the kids. Yep. He's going to put God at the pedestal, and then everything else kind of falls into place. And a lot of people I know go, man, I just want that so bad. And then there is somebody like that, and they're like, whoa, like, let's not get too crazy, know.
Right.
But it's just so interesting to see that, and how important it is to really follow what God says and really put him first. And when you do, everything falls in line. So
yeah,
I understand how that can be hard for a lot of people, because we talk about like Christian-ish.
Yes.
Everybody likes to be Christian-ish. Everybody likes to go to church.
Right.
This person I met, great Christian, whatever. And then you like really start getting to know them, and you're going, what in the world?
What the heck? Yeah.
What in the world? That's crazy. And then a lot of times, and then that relationship doesn't work, and you go, and they're like, well, he was just the worst, blah, blah. And you're going, well,
he went to church like every other Sunday.
But you're right. And you're just like, interesting.
Yeah. That's not.
So it's just important.
That's not what
really,
I'm talking about.
Yeah,
putting God first.
Yeah,
that you go to church every now and then when you feel like
they go for the most part.
You never read your Bible. I mean, that's not what I mean.
Yeah,
that's not what I'm talking about.
Because it's like the sacrifices that I've seen you guys do, and then it's like, oh, you're going Wednesday night and you're going Sunday nights. And Dad's preaching and I mean, there's Christian music, but I mean, it's just consuming.
Right.
It consumes Dad. It consumes you. Yeah. When you're not around God, or when you're not around whatever, and you're just alone, you're thinking about God.
Yeah.
You're at work and you're thinking about God.
Right.
I'm playing pickleball and I'm thinking about it. It's just like a constant thing. That's just so important.
And just one more thing, real quick or whatever, is I was thinking about this. So what happens when you're married and you're in your big house and your husband's 6 foot tall and he has a full head of hair and he makes tons of money, and you wake up and you're having a panic attack, you're having anxiety, something feels weird in your body. What do you do?
Mm-hmm.
Can you ask your husband to pray for you?
And
Can
it's
you,
on game day. It's on Saturday when Ohio State's about to
yeah,
play a really big team or
yeah,
something like that. And
right,
he's going, honey, you're fine.
right.
I'm playing football with
Or
the
is it
guys are
like,
coming
well,
over. Swing night.
I don't
Swing
pray
day.
out loud, so
Yeah. I'm
you
kind of
know,
uncomfortable
I'm
with
sorry.
that.
What do you think it is?
We don't really
No.
pray together. So
I'm not saying if you have a big house that your husband's not going to pray for you.
right.
But those things, that's what I'm talking about, not being Christianish. I've woke up your dad many a time and like, can you pray for me? I feel weird or whatever. Can you do that? Can you do that with each other? Because that's super important, because that's going to happen.
Yeah, praying together.
Yes.
And whatever, and he'll just take the reins and go,
Right.
yep, let's
The leader.
let's go.
Yep.
So yeah, I think is that about it?
Yeah.
So thank you guys so much.
Thanks for having me.
For joining us. Thank you for watching us, me and my mother. And I hope you guys have an amazing Christmas. And thank you for watching episode 17
of Someone Fix This.
Someone Fix This.